Hi everyone, welcome to the Envelopes Emmy Contender Series. I'm Yvonne Villarreal, and as we lead up to the Emmy nominations, we'll be chatting with some of the season's most valuable players. Today we're talking to Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Alfred Paper Boi Miles on FX comedy drama Atlanta. And we'll be taking your questions as well, so shoot them over in the comments section. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Very happy to be here.
So your agent says there's this show called Atlanta.
Yeah.
Tell me how this all came down.
Well, it actually was my manager that
Your manager.
that found this script and really thought, hey, you should go in for this. She read it and was like, I got a feeling that you would love this show. And I read it and I saw Alfred and was like, oh yeah. I was like, gotta do this, dude. Because I went to college in Atlanta, and Atlanta was just like had a huge part in my development to who I am. I mean, it's where I discovered that I wanted to act. It's where a lot of my great friends still are. I still love that city, and so it was a huge component to making me who I am. So once I read Alfred, I was like, got him. Okay, I think I know who this dude is. Because all of us have Alfreds in our lives, like, I mean, he's either your cousin or your brother or your lover or whatever, but we've all been Alfred at some point, I feel. And so, with the writing of Donald and Steven and the rest of our writing team, like, they really knew where to take Alfred and how to vocalize him and what he wanted, and all I wanted to do was just be the vessel. So I'm really glad I had the opportunity to play him and continue to play him. He's great. He's great.
Well, yeah, it was a homecoming of sorts.
Oh
like you
yeah, it
mentioned.
definitely was a homecoming.
And talk about your experience at Morehouse and what path you were on and what led you to realize I want to do
acting. Can I keep really funny? We gonna keep real? Okay, so when I got to Morehouse, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like when I was in high school, I was kind of like in everything. I was like the superlative kid. Like I was in show choir, speech and debate, marching band, and I didn't discover theater until my senior year. And I did a play called, what was it called? Why is it leaving me? It's a George C. Wolfe play. And I just remember going up there and having to perform in front of all the kids who were in detention, because our school had in-school detention. And so I'm doing this dramatic monologue at the lip of the stage, man. And I must have been like performing in front of 50 to 60 like juvenile delinquents, basically.
Were they just like throwing spitballs
No.
at you?
They were in it for a bit. That was the thing. I was terrified because they were dead quiet while I was doing my scene. I was like, got him. And I collapsed on the stage, right? And all I hear from the back is, you suck! And I was like, oh, acting, that's what I got to do, because you can't buy that. So, I did that, and once I got to Morehouse, I just had no idea what I wanted to do. And, I had some really great friends that I met along the way who knew that I had an interest in the arts, at least. And they were like, there's an audition going on over at Spelman, our sister school. And so I went, I did it, and I got cast, and I looked at the curriculum and saw that like all the classes were at 9 a.m. And I was like, all right, Brian, if you can get up for this class every day at 9 a.m. without any hesitation, then that's your passion. And from the moment that I took my first theater class, I was hooked. And the community that I built there, they were everything to me and still are. So I was hooked. I was like, this is what I got to do. I mean, this is clearly what it's going to be. Now, when I auditioned for Yale, I never in a million years thought that I would get in. But if it wasn't for these same friends and the same community that supported me, I would have never had the gumption to even audition. So I had to go and continue.
What was your audition?
Yeah, okay. So you have to do a classical piece and a contemporary piece. And at that point, I didn't know what either of those words meant. So I was like, my professors were like, okay, well, classical means Shakespeare, so you have to find a Shakespeare monologue or soliloquy and learn that. And I was like, I don't. And so I got this book of monologues. I can't believe I'm sharing this. I got this book of monologues, and I just flipped through, and I saw this monologue of Coriolanus, which, it's a great play, but not very done, like that. And it was just him screaming at like the people who were trying to damn him, and I was like, great, check on that.
Pull from
just
something.
Pull from, I was like, ooh, it gives me an excuse to throw stuff. All right, cool. And then I found this play by Eric Bogosian called Pounding Nails on the Floor with Your Forehead. And then there's a monologue called The Recovering Male, and it's about a dude who had a masturbation addiction.
Wow.
So, yeah, those were my pieces. And I knew that when I walked in, they would be like, where the hell did this kid come up with? I just thought they were fun. So, yeah, that's what I did. I wanted to make it fun. I wanted to always make sure that this whole thing was fun. I didn't want to like take myself too seriously at any point, because I believed with acting, for a long time, that it's a joy, right? You're supposed to play and you're supposed to like have fun, and if you find those roles that just really speak to you, then you go, and you want to live in the moment of everything, and that's kind of how I got into it, and I just couldn't stop. It was just
Were your
great.
parents on board
No,
with this change?
no,
Yeah.
no, God, no, no, no. I don't think any parent, honestly, when your child comes to you and it's like, I want to be an artist,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's a fear that they get immediately
not
because they're like, oh
practical.
my God,
Yeah.
what are your W-2s gonna look
Well,
like?
yeah.
What are you like? Oh God. But I just sought out to prove, I just really wanted them to know that, this is my choice. It has nothing to do with, you or finances. I will go, and I'm gonna go and explore it as much as I possibly can. And, like I'm sure they're very happy now, and they believed in me. They really like gave me the space to go and explore. My whole family get to go and explore and figure out what I wanted. I told them there'll be high highs and low lows, and they were with it. They let me do it.
And so, who is Alfred to you? And do you have a preference on how viewers view him as either Alfred or Paperboy? Do you?
I do actually. Well, for me, this whole navigating this whole thing of fame for Alfred, because I always call him Alfred. Like that's his name. That's who he is. And Paperboy is just that I don't want to say it's his alter ego. I don't even want to say that it's something that he sought to be. But that's kind of what fame is like, right? Like you never know how people are going to view you, and you never really. You throw a couple of stones out there and hope that it'll hit something, but I think that he was basically just trying to make it. I mean, he's made it thus far. He's got his own apartment. He's got his own car. He's got his he's still in Atlanta, and but for me, I really wanted people to see him. I really wanted people to see that he is someone's cousin and that he is someone's son, and that he deserves to be recognized. And he's got a big heart, man. Like deep down underneath it, Alfred, he's that guy that you want in your corner. He's also that guy that you don't want to like. You don't want none. You know what I mean? You don't want none. And I love that about him because the relationship between him and Ern is something that is incredibly special to me because cousins can morph into brothers and sisters and sometimes mothers and fathers, and that's that great thing about the familial bond. And I think that with Alfred, I mean, he can't help how people view, he's a big guy, he's kind of rough around the edges. He doesn't really smile that much, but when you do get that side of him, it's like you're in. When you're in, you're in. And I really wanted that to come across with him. I really wanted there to be some levity to him. I wanted there to be some kindness to him. I wanted there to be some kind of relatability. Because you don't really see a lot of Alfreds represented out there. You don't see a lot of, you see the paper boys easy.
Yeah.
Like the personas are easy to touch and see and digest, but you don't really get a chance to really see who the Alfreds are. And I want to make sure I do that with him.
Could you identify with him on that level, the misconceptions?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, growing up, I grew up in the South, in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with my father for most of my life, and here is this other black man who grew up in this country, born in 1940, has seen the gamut, like has seen all the things, and here you have this son that's like just rambunctious and hard-headed and wanted to be like, well, I can do this, I can be anything, I will do, and I'm very grateful to my father for giving me those kinds of lessons, to go and bump my head and get back up and figure out who the hell I am. But there's something special about the South. There's something special, and I mean that in every way of the word. Like there's something special, and there's something special about the South, where you feel like there's a freedom, but you always know that you need to know your place, which sucks. Like that, like to know that concept of knowing your place sucks. I hate it. And I think Atlanta is one of the few cities in this country, in the South, in the East Coast, that I don't ever feel that. You know what I mean? I look to my left and I see somebody that looks like me. I look to my right, I see somebody who looks like me, who's owning a business. You know what I mean? And there's education. There's like, it's so metropolitan and yet it's so Southern at the same time, and it's constantly growing. And I feel like for these characters, Darius, Ern, and Alfred, to be in Atlanta and trying to thrive, which they can if they want to, it means so much. Because I mean, I know that. I know those streets and sidewalks and burbs, and it's like, it's hard.
Well, talk about exploring that, because so often our view of Atlanta comes from reality shows.
Yeah,
So showing this other side.
What the most fun I have on Atlanta is knowing that we're on location. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing more exciting than like getting this call sheet and trying to figure out where. When I found out we were filming the JR Crickets, I was like, all right. And it's like, are we getting wings though? Like, I'm able to eat the whatever. It's every moment that I'm there is a moment of nostalgia for me, because it's just like, oh, which Waffle House do I want to go to today? Do I want to go to the one over here? Or do I want to go to one on Sidney Marcus? But there really is a sense of community. And I'm gonna tell you this, doing this show with these people was the most amazing experience I ever had in my life. Like, every single day, I was incredibly happy. I woke up ready to go. I slept with the blinds open. I don't sleep with the blinds open. Like, I want dark. But I was like, the sun, the Atlanta sun, like, let's go out, let's do this, let's explore. And it was it's single-handedly one of the most amazing times of my life to work with Donald, Keith, and Zazie, and our fearless director, Hero. He's just so remarkable. And the town welcomed us, like, the town was like, all right, because I was kind of scared about the images that Atlanta had sometimes. I was like, okay, yeah, I watch Love and Hip Hop, but we're not all like that. Yeah, the Housewives of Atlanta is great, but we're not all like that. Yeah, Little Women. Look, there's a Little Women of Atlanta.
I know there is.
There's a Little Women of it. There's a Little Women of Atlanta.
I'm quite familiar, yes.
But there, so once I started seeing this thing of like it being the city that you do, and not to lie of all the franchises, Atlanta's the best. Atlanta's the best. I'm really glad that a show like Atlanta could reach these landlocked states, could reach all the way over to another country, and people still relate to it. They still relate to it, and that's a great feeling. And I mean, like, I love that we created our own universe as well, like, for us to play and to tell stories, to show people, like, you don't know everything you think you know about this town or the people in it. And we're going to show you all different sides. We're going to break all kinds of, like, walls of what you think even TV shows should be. Like, why not just play? Like, why not just go and come play with us? So
we'll talk about, too, the importance of having a show with 3 Black men.
Yeah.
And not only that, showing 3 Black men struggling to try to make it.
Right.
So often that the way that's framed as laziness, the struggle.
Yeah, there was no greater feeling than when I saw the artwork for this show, because I don't think in my lifetime I've ever seen like a billboard with 3 Black men, let alone like in the front and not in the background. We're in the forefront, not in the background, and you really don't know what it's about. Like, you just see the 3 of us in a town, and you don't really know what but the fact that everyone was willing to rock with us and to go with us to see where we were gonna go, like, I've never trusted a show so much. I've never trusted a show to really tell my story or any story. Like, I've never given a show that much power to be like, oh, they're gonna tell it, they're gonna hit where, because then you get disappointed when you're like, oh, they went to the left. Like, they went to the left. That's not what, But with this one, I just really had trust in every single part of it. I mean, I trusted my co-stars, I trusted my director, our producers. Like, it was really a family ordeal, because, like, from hair and makeup to costumes to crew to, like, sound, like, we love each other. We rock for each other. And Atlanta, and I think that is what Atlanta is. I think that town is the embodiment of that community, and constantly changing and having its own universe. And it's great. I never in a million years thought that it would be that way. That something like that could survive in this diaspora of, like, television or Black television or whatever. I never thought that I'd be a part of it either, So I think that's our duty. Like, the one duty is to just show up as we are and tell the stories as we are, because as we see in this world, like, things are unfolding every day that question who we thought we were and what we thought we knew. And I feel like our show is right along with that.
How about let's talk about the storytelling that we get from this show.
Okay.
You touched on it earlier, but we have a Black Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Something
guy.
like the Montague episode,
Yeah.
which was just amazing. Talk about like being part of something where you get stuff like this.
You know, like Donald Glover is he is a genius. Like I mean, I really I feel like I've known him all my life, and he really does feel like a cousin to me. You know what I mean? That kind of like, I feel like he can get where I'm coming from before I even say anything. So with the Montague episode, which is really great, is that he was directing that episode, and we were really filming in an active news studio in
really?
Atlanta, and you know, bare bones, like big camera here, big camera there, big camera there. And Alano Miller, who I've acted with in theater before, is a good buddy of mine. I had no idea who was playing Montague.
Oh.
And so I roll up and I was like, oh, Alano, hey, man. Like, okay. I was like, look, let's just play, man.
Yeah.
Like, let's just really play. Like, let's just go for it. Like, and we get on this on this panel, and, you know, I check in with Donald, like, hey, is it okay if can we just riff? Can we just go? Can we? And he'd come and throw things at me to say, and I'd like throw some things in, and it was just so much fun, because what I liked about this one is Alfred got to stand up for himself. You know, if you're gonna drop me into this land of celebrity that you say that I'm supposed to be in, then when I say the things that I did before I was a celebrity, don't try to discredit me. And damn sure don't bring me on a television show to be like, well, you did this, like you did that. And I really felt like that episode gave me an opportunity to really stand up for Alfred, to really like show people all the different sides of who Alfred is. Like I was so grateful to Donald. And I remember leaving the set that night and texting him, it was like, okay, man, like I really hope that like I did okay, because, you know, like, I mean, like, I get really defensive about Alfred. Like I really get I want to protect him all the time, and I want to make sure that he's seen the right way all the time. So I wanted to make sure that the things that he said and all the way he interacted, because I was like, they set me up for the okie doke on that one. Like, y'all set me up, y'all got me out here, man. And then you definitely didn't tell me there was gonna be a dude in a blonde wig that's sitting there talking about he's a white guy, you know, trapped inside it. I couldn't, I was like, I can't.
Right.
And you know, that's also a great credit to our writers, like Donald and Stephen and Stephanie and Femi. They're the best. They're the best. And so they really just let you go. They let you go, and they'll come in and be like, hey, try this. I was never afraid to try anything. I was never afraid to go too far, you know, or it was never that kind of a show. And I'm so grateful for that.
When you were texting Donald, would you say you text as fast as Alfred?
Well, do I? I'm really bad at texting. Like I've gotten to a place now that I can't text anything without saying it out loud. So like, there's no privacy or anonymity to whatever I'm saying. Like I was texting a friend the other day, and I was like, "What? Nah, that we ain't going there." And I was like, "Oh." Sorry.
You're that person.
Yeah, I'm that
You're
person.
that person.
Because at that point, it's like, you know, I'm just so bad with technology. Like, I just can't. I'm getting old, so like, I have to say it. And then I found out, oh wait, there's a mechanism where you can just speak.
I was gonna say, I was like, you could just tell Siri to for you.
I don't know.
How about the music video? That was the first thing you shot?
Yeah, like that. I remember Hero and Donald just being like, okay, so first thing in the morning, we're just gonna shoot the video. I was like, oh, I need to learn this. Need to learn these words.
Yeah.
Man. Like, I really need to learn these words. And I was in my hotel room all day, all night, it just like, you know, learning the words and trying to figure out how I was going to move. But I was like, I don't know where we're shooting it. And so we go to Bankhead, Georgia, which is, you know, I mean, as the kids will call it, they'll call it like the Trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's the Trapper, but it's just Bankhead. It's just, you know, a normal area. Well, not normal, but you know, like. But we were out there in these projects, man, and the premise of the video is that, you know, I am a paper boy distributing bricks of cocaine like paper, as you do. You know what I'm saying? As you do.
Yeah.
And here we are in like this damn Dodge Charger, and I'm in a postal outfit because my mixtape's name is Postal, and I'm just throwing these it's just, and it's hot, like it's really hot. Like Atlanta heat and humidity is just not the business. And I'm just throwing it on people, and then like these kids are coming out of the apartments, and they really think that I'm a rapper, They really think that this song is like on. And at one point I was like, hey man, can we get the kids in? Actually, no, never mind. Like, no, no, let's not get the kids
Yeah.
in. But it was fun. It was, and you got Keith driving driving the car around, hanging out. It was great. It was a great time. It really was.
Did it feel like, oh, this is what I wanted to do as a kid? Like, I mean, did you grow up wanting to?
You know what?
I feel like everyone wants to make a music video when they're a kid.
At some point, I'm not even gonna lie to you, Yvonne. At some point when I was young, man, I was obsessed with.
Just making the video.
Well, yeah, remember making the video, right? Okay, so I was obsessed with every Michael Jackson video that came out. Then Janet Jackson had the nerve to come out and make these bomb-ass music videos. So I started studying all these music, like Hype Williams, you know, F. Gary Gray, you know, Billy Woodruff. And then Francis Lawrence comes around and does all, and so I would study these directors all the time. I was like, oh my God. And you know how it is when you hear a song you really like, you got that video.
You got the video.
And then when the video comes out and it's nothing like what you envision, you're like, I don't even like this song anymore. But
Hero had done a lot of Donald's videos.
And like great segue because Hero, his videos are fire. Like I'm always in awe of Hero, I Love You. Every video you've done is amazing. He just did one of my favorite songs off of Tribe Called Quest's new album called This Generation. And the fact that Hero got that song and directed that video, I like melted. I was like, dude, like, let's keep doing it. I was like, and you in the same room with Q-Tip? I was like, you were hanging out with Q-Tip? Like, I really have nothing else to say. Like, you're the best. So yeah, I've always been very intrigued by visuals, very intrigued by cinema, very intrigued by like television, like because I love when people can take something that may seem mundane to everybody else and just find ways to just crack it open and find all these different surfaces and stories and it's really amazing, and I'm so glad that we had Hero for that. I'm so glad that Hero was the person to bring that out. I'm so glad that Donald was the person to bring that out. Because that's what I kind of like about doing what I'm doing is like, I call it finding your fellow freaks. You know what I mean? Like when you find your fellow freaks, when you find the freaks that love the things that you love, you know, when you felt like you were that person that was over here that nobody saw, when you felt like, you know, nobody could possibly be going through the same experiences that you're going through. No, like there are people out there who really, really, really understand. And, you know, and if you're lucky, they become artists. And if you're lucky, they become creatives. And if you're smart, you know, you find each other and then you create something, I feel like Atlanta. So.
Well, and how was it? I mean, your co-stars are rappers. You were the one that came in cold. Did they give any tips? And like, who did you want to model him after? Were there rappers?
Well, that was the thing is I never wanted to get in the trap of modeling Alfred after anybody, you know, because there's still layers to him that he may want to keep to himself that he like, because I thought about me, like, my favorite thing in the world, like I remember growing up, like once I started to see how tall I was becoming, once I started to see like how dark my skin was, I was like, there's nothing I can do with how people are going to view me. Like they're going to already put these things on me and say that that's who he is, that's what he knows, that's what this is. And so I like messing with people. Like I come from a house of 4 sisters. Like I am the pettiest person in the world. I'd rather be petty than argue with you. I'd rather just like play the hell out of you. And so I would start doing things like dressing differently, or I would go around like as a deaf mute for a month just to see if anybody knows. Like I just like really like kind of going in and doing these things. And so with Alfred, he gives me all the space to do that. Like he gives me all the space to say how I feel, or to say as little as I want, or to move in this way. And I just never wanted to make Alfred completely accessible to anybody, even his cousin, you know, even to himself sometimes, you know, like because fame is new to him. He don't know who he's gonna be. Like he has no idea how people are gonna feel about him, and I really just wanted to keep him as open as possible.
Because do you identify with him in that way, discovering what this fame means and?
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous how art actually is imitating life right now, because there's a scene, you know, the scene like where I'm going through and these kids are pretending to be me, and she didn't know who I was, but then she comes up.
She wants that selfie with you.
There was one of the funny, like I tried to explain this to my sisters. I was like, I don't really know what is going to happen with Atlanta, and I really feel like it's going to be something that people are going to relate to. And so I had to go home. And I was with them for a little bit, and they were supposed to drive me home. I'm so sorry, I'm calling y'all out, but I'm doing it. So I had to go home for an event, and they were supposed to take me home, but they couldn't. And I was like, oh, come on, guys, how am I gonna get home? And they were like, the megabus. I was like, the megabus, man. I was like, you gonna put me on a megabus? That's how family keeps you humble. You gonna put me on the megabus? I was like, oh, I don't know if that's all right. Fine, I'll do it. And sure enough, I get in this line. And these two girls come up and they're like, "You're Paperboy, right? Can we please get a picture?" I know it's just like the episode, but can we please get a picture? It's like, you know what? Yeah, actually, the next day, it's all on Instagram. And I was like, "See, I told you guys." I was like, "Come on, man. I need y'all to have my back." So it was great though. I mean, the fans of the
Staying
show.
humble.
I mean, family will keep you humble. Okay, they'll keep you right there. So and the fans are the most gracious and the most loving. And I mean, we wouldn't be here without them. So thank you to the fans. Like, honestly, the love that is given to us is unbelievable. And we're glad that we're representing you, and we're going to continue to do so. So it's been great.
Well, can we also take some time to talk about your time on This Is Us?
Okay.
Because I remember the tweets like, Paperboy's on This Is
I
Us.
know.
Talk about how that all came together. I mean, you're good friends with Sterling Brown.
It's my best friend, yes. I love this man. He's very responsible in me even being able to sit here. I met him 10 years ago when we were doing a play with, Oscar-winning Terrell Alvin McCraney. Also a good friend of mine. We graduated from Yale together. And we just, I mean, I never had a brother. I grew up in this house full of women and a house full of women with one bathroom too, which was the worst thing.
Yeah.
Too. Like you learn patience.
I apologize.
You learn patience.
Yeah.
You learn who you are when
Yes.
you learn who you are. And Sterling just instantly, like, was just something, like, I was like, this is my dude, like, and he just really wanted to see me succeed. Like, I just had never, he didn't have to do any of that. So, I owe a big part of everything that I'm going through to him. And once he got this show, This Is Us, because we were also on FX at the same time. So we had People vs. OJ, and then I was shocked. I was like, well, I'm going to be on the same network, bro. Like, you got it. And then he got This Is Us, and I was just in love, which as America is, with this show. And the whole time I'm always trying to scheme on how to work with him. Like, because for some reason we never got a chance in our careers to work. Well, we've worked together, but like we were acting adjacent. You know what I mean? Like we never had any scenes together. We never had any, like really big, like, nothing to, no gravitas, right? And so the whole time I was like, how am I gonna get on his show? Like, I gotta find a way. I was like, he got a lost brother somewhere, right? Like, but either way, with the graciousness and kindness of NBC and Universal and my manager and Sterling as well, and Dan Fogelman, he's one of the best writers I've ever. They created this episode where I got to come on and be his distant cousin. But then I was like, the joke's on me because I'm in the past. I was like, I'm in the past. But it was one of the most amazing experiences. Like it really. Ron Stevens Jones, who I also know from the New York, it is amazing. Amanda Warren, who played William's mom, is a classmate of mine from Yale. It was just it really was a familiar episode, and I got to sing, which I was like,
know,
oh!
talk about that. We can always come back to this.
Yeah,
I mean, which was just the soul of that song.
I was kind of nervous because I was like, I know that people don't really know a lot about me, and I'm new to the scene, and I'm the newbie. I'm the newbie. But like I said, I love when people think they know everything about me, so I can come in and do a like, and I was in a musical called Book of Mormon for years, and I was in show choirs. I don't consider myself a singer, but I love music. And music is my life's blood. And when I found out that they had an original song, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be oh man, like.
Did you cry?
I cry every time. I told him on set, I was like, look, we may have to break because, like, I'm going to do an ugly cry. I'm going to do an ugly cry. This is too beautiful. And it was great. It was great. I didn't expect the success of said song to happen. I didn't even know that's what I sound like, I just really wanted to, that song was so beautiful, like Sid and Chris, who composed it and wrote it, they really, like, found just, they really cracked in, and I had to make sure that I did it justice. I had to make sure that I just put my soul in there, and I'm glad that people received it well. It was terrifying. I was like, oh, everyone is gonna see me singing this song and crooning it. The best part though is that I got the outfits,
Yeah,
the
that
costume
helps.
department. I was like, yeah, all right, like give me. And the crazy thing is that I asked them. I said, is it okay? Like my character ages to 76. I was like, that's the same age as my dad. And so I showed them a picture of my dad, and they were like, "Oh, we have to."
We have to
I
model
mean,
it.
and it was insane. I looked exactly like my father. It was really ridiculous. But when I was in the past, they gave me the chopped sideburns, which I was like,
You gotta have those.
gotta have the chopped sideburns.
Wait, and please just like tell me what it was like to share a scene with Cicely Tyson, Viola Davis, How to Get Away with Murder.
You don't know who you
Miss
are.
Tyson.
You know, okay, if you're nasty.
It's Miss Tyson.
If you're nasty, I still can't believe that I was like I breathe in the same air as Auntie Viola Davis, because I call her Auntie. I feel like that's my auntie. I want to like have a cookout with her. And then Cicely Tyson walks in, and you're just like, oh wait.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I have no lines with that. I was like, ah. So I tried everything I could in that scene to just like throw glances to try to like, get a little Viola time. And she is one, she is without a doubt deserving of every single thing that she's getting right now. She's amazing, and I hope like to share space with her again one day. So she's phenomenal.
Well, let's try to work in some of these fan questions before we wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Sean on Facebook asks, who were some of your mentors in acting, either directly or indirectly?
Well, Sterling Brown, for sure. Sterling Brown is a huge mentor to me. There's a director named Kent Gash, actually, who was the one that kind of like pulled me aside and was like, you should audition for these schools, and like you should give yourself every opportunity. My professors, Crystal Dickinson, Professor Bradley, and Ron Van Loo. My acting chair at Yale, Ron Van Loo, who just retired, like, please go do your thing, Ron. He was very vocal in me moving forward and also maintaining who I am. And Terrell Alvin McCraney as well. They've all been really good people in my corner to move forward in this.
Greg on Facebook asks, what do you think Paper Boi would say about this Fire Festival?
Wait, what's Fire Festival? Oh, am I out of touch? I'm out of touch.
The jaw rule thing.
I just read about that. Man, please. First of all, I think that I would have already been on Twitter busting it up. Like, I would think that Paper Boi would have been just sending all kinds of memes, like just sending all kinds of bruh memes. Like, oh,
that sandwich.
Oh my God. Like, really? I'm like, what is going on?
And how did your time attending Morehouse inform your vantage point on the show, if at all?
You know what? I feel like I've spent most of my life searching for brotherhood, searching for what it means to really like have brotherhood, which it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be with men either.
Yeah.
Like, just that kinship. They always tell you about this fraternal thing that you're supposed to have. And I went to Morehouse seeking for that. I went there like, okay, I'm 18. I want the only all black male school in Atlanta, Georgia. And I also went there thinking Freaknik was still going. Freaknik wasn't there when I got there. It was not a good look. So I was like, well, I got to really delve into brotherhood then.
Yeah.
So what Morehouse really taught me was tradition, about tradition, how important it is. And it also didn't teach me this, but it helped me unleash who I am as a black man in this world. I don't have to be this way because you say so. I don't have to walk this way because you say so. But it also gave me the tools on how to do that too, if necessary. But I think what was most important about Morehouse and Atlanta is that I got to formulate who I wanted to be. There was everything that I wanted to find was accessible for me to, like you got a toolbox, you don't need all the tools in it, so you could be like, I don't want that, I don't know why I need that, but let me get this. I think that Atlanta was my toolbox, honestly, or tool belt to walk in this world and figure out who I wanted to be and really go out there and be bold about it, not be afraid. So Morehouse and Atlanta combined kind of made what you see now, so yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up with our lightning round. Get ready. Got a series of questions.
Okay, let me get some more. All right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Last show you binge watched?
Last show I binge watched, the Great British Baking Show.
Thank you. I get so many people saying that.
The Great British Baking Show.
What show that you love would you want to sit and watch someone else enjoy for the first time?
Drunk History.
Okay.
Okay.
If you could go back and be on any classic show, what would that be?
The Jackson 5 Variety Hour, man. I want to be on Jackson or Sonny and Cher. I would have done either one of those. I would have done either.
What genre would you like to try?
Horror.
Ooh.
Horror.
Walter White or Tony Soprano?
And I hate Walter White. That was the worst guy. Walter White. Walter White, though. Fun.
What was your first acting job, and what did you learn that you're still using now?
Job. I'm sorry, I just ghetto popped. Sorry about that. First job that I did was Shakespeare in the Park. I was doing Romeo and Juliet, and I was playing Tybalt, and I had to act in a pool of water. I had to fight in this water. What you should do if you're ever in water is remember that you're always going to be in that water, and that it's always going to suck. And especially if it's outside, it's going to suck even more. So what was the second part of that question? What advice would I give?
What did you learn that you're still using now?
Patience. I was attacked by mosquitoes and all kinds of patience. I learned that and how to clench my ass in water because you got to really like if anything happens because you always think something's crawling on you. So there's that. Sorry.
And we'll end on that note, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in and check out more of our Emmy Contender chats on LAtimes.com. Thanks.